Today, Jesus gives us an image and a parable about a vineyard that is God's people. Whenever I read these agricultural metaphors, I always find that I get them now more than I used to. You all know I lived in Chicago, and on the 9th floor of a 15-story building, there is not a lot of room for planting a vineyard on a 100-square-foot balcony. My backyard's a little bigger now, and so I understand what it means to tend different trees and plants, and even some grapes. Got those too. And so it's interesting to see when they use these agricultural metaphors like fig trees or vineyards, and how much better I understand some of them now that I tend them myself. But the image that Jesus gives us today doesn't really require any specialized knowledge in figs or grapes, just understanding what it's like to be a landlord and someone doesn't pay the rent. Jesus talks about a vineyard that is God's people. He uses an image from Isaiah chapter 5, one that everybody who was there would have known very well. Isaiah chapter 5 talks about God's people as a vineyard. That God planted a vineyard, put all the best grapes in it, built a wall, protected it, watered it, cared for it, and when he came to find it, what did it produce? Wild grapes, sour grapes. Not the kind of thing you're looking for when you plant your own vineyard. And so Isaiah says, God would tear down the walls, rip down the hedges, and even command the clouds not to rain on his people Israel. Isaiah uses this metaphor to help predict what's going to happen for Israel. That the armies of Babylon would come to Jerusalem, destroy the city, and take their people into captivity. They were unfaithful, and so God would destroy them. And so now we have a similar metaphor. Jesus describes a vineyard where a man owns it, and he goes away, and he puts some people in charge. He sends servant after servant to collect the fruits of the vineyard, and they're treated terribly. And finally, he sends the son who is killed. And it's a whole lot like ancient Israel. Over the years, after God called them out of Egypt and gave them the promised land, they rejected his covenant over and over and over. And God sent prophet after prophet after prophet to the people of Israel to call them back to faith. And they treated those prophets terribly. Prophets like Elijah, who was the only one of the prophets of God that wasn't killed during his lifetime, or Isaiah. Jeremiah, who was arrested and treated very badly. And now finally, we see Jesus, God's own son, coming to his city to offer them gifts of salvation. And we know where the story goes. Jesus will be rejected by the leaders of Israel and be killed. And after he dies, he will rise again. This parable has 3 warnings for us. The first one is it speaks about a political judgment that is going to happen on the city of Jerusalem very soon. 2, it talks about a spiritual judgment that is going to happen for the Pharisees and the Sadducees. And then finally, a warning for us as we consider that it is still Christ's church.